Hi, this is Tom, and in this episode we're going to multiply 3 times the square root of 5 minus 4 times the square root of 2, the entire quantity squared. Now, in order to do this, remember what this means. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. I have 3 square root of 5 minus 4 square root of 2 squared. Remember, when you square a number, it means write whatever is in the parentheses multiplied by that same amount. So I have 3 square root of 5 minus 4 square root of 2 times, I have to multiply this entire piece again, 3 square root of 5 minus 4 square root of 2. Then, I'm going to do this in different colors. The first one is we'll do this in blue. In my blue distribution, I'm going to have to take 3 square root of 5, and I'm going to multiply it. Oops. Guess this will be in red. Okay, so 3 square root of 5 times 3 square root of 5. Then 3 square root of 5 times a negative 4 square root of 2. So let's do that. So, and I'll write this all out. 3 square root of 5 times 3 square root of 5. Then I'm going to have a positive times a negative, so this is going to be a minus 3 square root of 5 times 4 square root of 2. And then let's use maybe some blue here. And using the blue, we'll distribute again. So now I have minus 4 square root of 2 times 3 square root of 5. That's going to be a minus 4 square root 2 times 3 square root 5. And then I'm going to have 4 square root of 2 times negative 4 root 2 times negative 4 root 2. The two negatives, that's going to give me a positive. I'm going to have 4 square root of 2 times 4 square root of 2. Okay, let's begin to put this all back together. Notice here I have a 3 times a 3, so I can write that as 9. The square root of 5 times the square root of 5, that's going to give me the square root of 25. Here I have a minus, if I go 3, I'm going to rearrange this. It'd be easier if you think of it as 3 times 4, and then you're going to multiply the square root of 5 times the square root of 2. And again, we'll do the same thing here. We're going to have just reordering these. Since it's just a whole bunch of multiplication, we can just write this as 4 times 3 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 5 plus 4, I'm going to reorder this, the 4 times the other 4 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. Now, I want to take a moment and just explain what I did again. For example, let's do this here in this interesting color. When I reordered these, like I just did here, what was important is this idea here, the way I reordered them, is the same idea as if I had the numbers 2 times 3 times 4 times 5. And for a lot of people, one of the easiest numbers to multiply by is 10. So because of the commutative property, it says I can reorder the numbers. So one might purposely put the 2 with the 5 and then leave the 3 and the 4 together. All I've done is just change the orders. And then I can multiply the 2 times the 5 and get a 10, and then the 3 times the 4 and get a 12, and then I can get my final result. What's really important here is not that this is 120, it's that the 4 times the square root of 2 times 3 times the square root of 5 can be reordered so that I can multiply as effectively as possible. And that's being done by putting the 3 and the 4 together, and then the numbers inside the radicals together. So we did it in this step here, and then we did it again in this step here. Okay, let's go back to our black, and we'll continue with the problem. 9 times the square root of 25. Well, that just becomes 9 times The square root of 25 is 5. So once you take the square root, the radical goes away. Minus 3 times 4, that's 12. 5 times, oops, we'll do that. 3 times 4 is the 12. Square root of 5 times the square root of 2. This is going to give us some multiplication inside the radical. And in this case, it's just going to be 5 times 2 in the radical. Minus 4 times 3, this piece here, is 12. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 5, that's just 2 times 5 inside the radical, or simply 10. Plus 4 times 4, that's 16. Times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, that's going to give me the square root of 2 times 2, or 4. Simplifying again, we have 9 times 5, that's 45. Here, notice they have, since the radicals match, then these are like terms. So I can add that to get a minus 24 times the square root of 10, plus the square root of 4, that's 2. So this becomes 16 times 2. Then I'm going to just write it out again. I have 45 minus 24 square root of 10 plus the 2 times 16, that's 32. My last step would then be to combine like terms. So let's do that. So I need to combine like terms. In this case, my like terms are the numbers without the radical. So I have a 32 and a 45. When I put those together, I would say that's going to be, see, 45 plus 30, 75, 77 minus 24 times the square root of 10. And that is how you multiply. It's 3 times the square root of 5 minus 4 times the square root of 2, quantity squared. This is Tom, and thank you for joining me.